What's up, pod pals? It is your buddy Adam, and this is Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach you how to love your podcast like a hobby, but build it like a business. We are doing a little podcast audit session with my friends Daphne and Roberta from Grown Women Growing Wealth. I love that name. These ladies have some awesome things going on with their show. We're going to dig in. If you're looking for tips on podcast monetization, podcast growth, podcast engagement, you have come to the right place. Daphne, Roberta, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, so let's do a little update. You filled out a ton of information for me. I like to get our audience on the same page with where you are at with your show. So the show's name, Grown Women Growing Wealth. You listed as areas for improvement. You're looking for better audience engagement, bigger guests, be a guest on more podcasts. We don't have any lead magnets at this time. You do have some affiliate programs going on that you're promoting. So I think that's awesome. You're communicating with your show, obviously, Facebook group and YouTube. And then you've got an obstacle or some questions about repurposing video. Does that all sound accurate still?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Daphne, since we've interacted on Pod Pals quite a bit, I'll give you the first right away here. Where would you like to start when it goes to podcast growth, audience engagement, monetization, things like that? Where would be an effective place to start the conversation?
Engagement. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a Facebook group and you've got YouTube. What's the engagement looking like there? Are we getting some traction, like especially with like the Facebook group?
Some, not much.
Okay.
Because I should pull it up and get actual numbers.
We get likes in there. We don't really get comments, or sometimes we get shares.
Okay. And what's the theme of the group? Are you in there giving like financial advice and tips and things like that?
No.
Okay.
I'll be very honest. Nope. Not in that group.
We are not.
Okay. So, I mean, that's something that you may look at ramping up. Like I dumped on my Facebook groups because it's a hard place to play. And anybody that's looking to start a new group right now, I'm like, unless you come with a brand that brings a lot of people automatically, if you're a brand name, then that makes sense. But if you're starting from zero, like it's a hard road to go down. Where I tend to play is other people's Facebook groups. They've already done the work. They've already established the connected community. And I go in there as somebody that adds value, and I kind of lean off of their group. So I'll be kind of an expert on my niche in their group and do, like mini blog posts and put some video content out or tips or whatever. That's worked a lot better. And I'm pulling people into my world that are hitting that subscribe button on my show, things like that. So that may be something to consider if you feel like, man, this is going to take a lot of effort just to get people to say something in there. You don't necessarily have to beat your head against the wall and do that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. That's okay. I've heard that from several areas, my mastermind group and so forth. But my question is, how do I find groups to interact with that I can add value to?
Yeah. So I would just search around and go, okay, I want to find groups that are well managed, well run, have some rules. They are the perfect group is somebody that's tangential to your space. So your space encompasses their space, or their space encompasses yours, but it's not the exact same thing. So there's like a giant 50,000 podcaster group called, for Podcast Movement. And I'm in there, but it doesn't get a lot of my focus because everybody's a podcaster. There are a million podcast, coaches and stuff in there doing the exact same thing as what I do. I like social media marketing world, or Amy Porterfield's stuff. She has online course development, stuff like that. It's not about podcasting, but I like online marketing. I can speak to online marketing or social media marketing from a podcaster's perspective. So I can serve that little niche within that community of like, hey, is anybody here thinking about starting a podcast? Here are some tips on how I use my social media to grow my podcast. Or, whatever thread is going, I can just drop episode links and go, hey, I did an episode on this on Podcasting Business School. A lot of times I won't drop links because some groups aren't into that, but I'll say DM me for the link. If you want it, I'll send it to you. So that's what I look for. So with maybe let's back up a little bit. Who's the ideal listener for your show? Roberta, you want to take that? Like, who is, just give us a few key descriptives of that ideal avatar, the person that you feel like you can help the most that listens in.
Sure. Well, Grown Women speaks to women of a certain age, so a little bit older, like I say older, 40s, 50s-ish, right? Most of our listeners are in their second iteration career-wise, right? So they started in corporate and they either left or got laid off or something. For some reason, they decided weren't going back to corporate and they want to create their own business. So they become an entrepreneur. They're down the road a little bit, but they're running into that space where, making pies isn't getting it done anymore, right? Like, I need to know how to market the pies, hire people around it, like that iteration of the business where you just can't do it all yourself anymore. And you need to learn all the other pieces that we don't know coming out of corporate world.
Okay. Is it time to start developing systems so you can scale? Is it time to get a CPA? Do I need to lease a CFO? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that there are some massive mom groups out there in Facebook land, mom and mom entrepreneur groups. That's what I would target, because you can be like the financial or business growth experts within the mom groups that are women of a certain age. Maybe their kids are now old enough. Maybe they've been a stay-at-home mom. And now they're like, I actually want to create this business that I've been putting off for the last 20 years to raise these kids or whatever. I think that would be something that I would definitely look at. Online marketing groups, same as me. Like, I feel like that's, you pull the female segment out of that and go like, here are the top 5 tips that we've got for women that are starting their second iteration in life or whatever, like, thinking about launching your first business as a middle-aged woman. Here are our top 5 danger zones or roadblocks to watch out for. And you're just creating conversations in there. So that's kind of the first step. If we're talking, do you feel like your avatar is on Facebook? Do you feel like that's where they hang out primarily?
Yeah, I think Facebook, I think some LinkedIn, because they are coming out of corporate, but definitely Facebook. What do you think?
Okay.
Instagram too?
Instagram for my standalone business, yes. But Facebook also for the podcast and for my business. That's where I've gotten the most interactions. Okay. When we go live, when we use StreamYard ourselves and go live, most of the interaction comes via Facebook, whether because we're streaming through our own pages or because we're in the Grown Women Growing Wealth group.
Okay, perfect. So what I would experiment with is start to cast your fishing line out there in a few of these other groups and see where you get some engagement, and just do value add. Like, if you even have just a really good tip list or some strategies or something, and just have a nice GIF or an image or something that you put up, and it's just like, it's nothing about promoting anything that you've got. And then the next step is you want a reason to invite them into your world. And it can't be, hey, listen to my show. So what I do, as Daphne knows, I do the every other week, I do my Pod Pal Zoom party. So if I'm in Amy Porterfield's Online Marketing Made Easy community, and I'm the guy in there posting about podcasting every once in a while. Like, I posted a big, long post a few months back about how to use podcasting when you're in course launch mode, because everybody just finished this course on how to create an online course. And so they were all about it. And I was like, so as a podcaster, here's how I do this. And I was getting comments. And I was like, hey, if anybody is interested, this Tuesday, I'm hosting my next Pod Pal Zoom party. If you are a podcaster, if you're thinking about podcasting, I'd love to have you. It's free. DM me if you would like the link. Everybody DM me. Everybody. And I've had so many people, even, a few months down the road, that they're like, I found you in Porterfield's group when you made that comment about the how to use a podcast to launch your show, your course. So it works. But you need that reason. It can't just be, hey, you should check out my show. It's like, an interaction point. So whether it's a webinar but it's got to be free, like it's got to be like a freemium thing. So a webinar, an online challenge, maybe in your Facebook group, you're doing some sort of a challenge. That would be another way. Like we're doing a 5-day challenge. We'd love to have anybody in that's interested in XYZ. DM me if you would like to get involved. Something like that. I think that will pull people into your world. And once they're in your world, they can, like, you make the rules instead of playing on somebody else's ball field. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think makes the most sense for that next step for you? Like a Facebook group challenge, online challenge, webinar, something like I do with Pod Pals. Any thoughts on that?
Well, when I think of a webinar, I'm thinking of either that you're attempting to get some information out, like about a product, and the product is the podcast. I mean, we're not looking to at this time. We're not looking to teach a course from the podcast sense.
Right.
So,
well, now I know you have affiliate links, so
yes,
maybe whatever it is that you are, like, if you have a 5-day challenge and each day of the challenge features a tip or a step that you so happen to have an affiliate link associated with, like if you were talking about branding and you do a little thing on Canva and like how I make my social media posts on Canva, and hey, here's my affiliate link for Canva, by the way, and there's a discount. That's worth it. Like, you could get some people, you're gonna get people on your list, you're gonna serve them, and it's like a really low salesy factor with just an affiliate link, because there's usually a discount associated with it. Like, hey, if you want to do this like me, here's my link. It's an affiliate link. You gotta let them know that, of course, by the rules, but you get a sweet discount. So it's a great way to support me and the show. Or each day you make an episode recommendation that goes a little bit deeper or gives some more information, and just get them plugged into your world. If you do a 5-day challenge inside your Facebook group or a 3-day challenge, and it's like challenge content, maybe you just go live and then you give them that next step of an affiliate link or an episode to listen to. You're just getting people plugged into your world consistently for 3 to 5 days. That's worth it. Like, we're building super fans, we're building audience engagement, we're getting some eyeball time with them, we're taking them out of the earbuds into the eyeball zone where we get interact, just like what we're doing here today, and it'll make a huge difference. So that's the angle that I would take. So now, naturally, my next question is, why don't we have anything to sell? Are you just not into that yet, or not at that stage yet? Like, do you not want to do courses or coaching, or so? What's the monetization situation?
Monetization situation. We've discussed getting our logo out on the basic stuff, the mugs, t-shirts, things like that. But we've never discussed as a podcast putting together a course of some type. We've never sat down and talked about that, because Roberta is a sales coach and I'm a wealth consultant / life insurance. So we've never looked at, as I said, as the podcast as a product.
Yeah.
The original thing was, okay, yeah, we want to bring value to women entrepreneurs, but it was also a way for us to discuss our business, like to start doing sponsorships as individuals and things like that. Yeah.
Well, and we're also both developing for individual businesses. Daphne's just finished an ebook, and I'm getting ready to push out. I don't think it's going to be an ebook, but it's going to be a downloadable. So we have stuff for our individual businesses, but we haven't for the podcast per se. I like the idea of pulling out, I think you kind of said it, pulling out from the experts we've had on the show and saying, hey, this expert said to do this when hiring, this one, the CPA, this with the,
right.
I think we could do that.
They've given us, right. They've given us affiliate links. So then we also have like general affiliate links also.
Yeah.
Like to talk about podcasting and things like that.
Okay. So I think that, let's say you do a 5-day challenge inside your Facebook group. And like phase 1 of my mind is, we're talking about the 5-day challenge on the show. Make sure you join our group because of XYZ. And we're going to have 5 of your favorite experts that have been on our show to teach about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have them come on live with you on StreamYard. You bounce it into the Facebook group for that live content, live Q&A. And then they kind of make the pitch for their affiliate link for you. Like, hey, and if you guys want to go next level on this, we've got a discount, we've got a special deal or a bonus or whatever. And then in the comments, you can drop their episode. Like, hey, if you guys want to dive a little deeper on this expert, if you missed that episode, here it is. So we're collecting emails, we're getting audience engagement, opportunity for monetization, and an opportunity to get people to start binge listening to your show. I've done that with, I did a podcast monetization workshop and as a lead magnet. Oh, okay. Not to add too many layers to this idea, but I'll just tell you what I did is I didn't go live with them. I did 2 interviews, two 15-minute interviews. Yeah. 2 15-minute interviews. I put one out on the show and then I said to get the other one, hit the email, and I did it as an online course. And that was where the video went, was in the online course, the other tip. So you could do something like that where a part of it is on the show and that kind of teases the challenge. And you could do that for the weeks leading up to the challenge to kind of be like, hey, if you like this, guess what they talked about inside the challenge or what they're going to be talking about inside the challenge. So there's a lot of ways that we can attack this. But I think it's going to be a great use of your time with audience engagement, potential monetization, potential for download, people kind of binge listening. I think it'll be worth your time. Now, my advice would be give yourself a solid month of promoting it before it happens. So set a date for when the challenge is going to be, and then talk about it on your show and on your social for at least 4 weeks. That way you're putting in reps, maybe even longer. But have the email opt-in, like, so they give you the email, they get access to the group or however you want to make that work. And that's what I would personally do. And then of course, I mean, are you each monetizing it all with your own personal services? Are you getting people that listen to your show that come in and hire Roberta as a sales coach or hire or buy like life insurance products from Daphne? Is that happening at all?
No. It's still coming in from independent lead generation.
Okay.
That's not necessarily the show.
Okay. So that's something that you could consider doing too, is doing coaching sessions like this, where you would potentially bring ideal people in, do consulting on the show. Like, that's why I do episodes like this. Like, it's awesome content. It's me going next level with people that would be potential great clients or potential great referrals for clients. And like, it's a great big value add, and you get to go eyeball to eyeball with your ideal listener. That's, a unique opportunity for podcast listeners. Like, I wish Amy Porterfield or, Gary Vee or some of those people would be like, if they did something like this, I'd be signing up, trying to get in that lottery every month. And
I think Gary Vee does.
Yeah. Like, you
every now and then.
Yeah. So like, that's something that I feel like you could really excel at. Like, maybe it's Sales Tip Saturday with Roberta, and maybe you got Daphne kind of helps facilitate, but Roberta takes the lead and she brings somebody on, and we go through her sales tip protocol or her audit of what's working, what's not with your sales technique. Maybe that person comes in and hires you as a coach, and then Daphne breaks down like same thing in her area of expertise in insurance or whatever makes sense, and you can kind of swap back and forth. And these could be 15-minute sessions. I did these with my health show, Million Pound Mission. I did back-to-back for 1 hour a month, 15 minute, 15 minute, 15 minute, 15 minute. I was good for a month of my Friday episode content, and people just ate it up. And it sold my stuff for me because on the show, they see me in coach mode. And it's like, he's not just the interviewer guy. It's not the other people that are experts. This guy's actually an expert. So I would show that off a little bit. How's that hit you? Does that sound like something that you may have interest in?
Yes. And
because
the 5-day challenge and that also.
Okay. And like, Roberta, we just met, but I know Daphne knows her stuff, and she's a great speaker, and she's got that power behind her, So you pull somebody that's struggling a little bit out of the audience seat and plop them in front of you and plug into that, it's going to make a difference. And even if they never buy anything ever, they're going to go and tell 10 people about your show. And that's how we go boom, boom, boom. And the show gets bigger as the show. And those people refer ideal people to listen to the show because they're an ideal audience avatar. Most likely the people that they hang out with, they're going to be in that same seat. And that's something you can kind of facilitate too. Like, hey, I know you listen to the show. If you know anybody, we'd love for you to, shout it out and, hit, get us 5 new subscribers or like put that call to action out there. And now there's actually a service called Refer-O-Matic where you can give, like, let's say I'm a super fan. I come on your show. I do a coaching session with Daphne. And then she goes, hey, Adam, I don't know if you know anybody that might be interested in listening to the show, but we can set you up with a special link. And if you refer 5 people, we're going to give you a shout out on the episode, or we're going to send you a free t-shirt or whatever. And Refer-O-Matic tracks all that stuff. And anytime they get a special link, if somebody subscribes or listens to an episode, then they track all that. And you can set little barriers of prizes when you give them a shout out. I always recommend a shout out on the show being the first one, because you got to envision, what if 1,000 people do this? You don't want to be like sending free mugs for 5 referrals to 1,000 people. And they're like, I live in New Zealand and it's $40 to send the mug or whatever. So you got to think worst case scenario there. But like shout out on the show, some sort of merch. And then maybe like if they do 50 or something, it's a free mentorship session or something like that. And you set some big number out there. I could see you leveraging something like that as well. So, I feel like that's, the other idea that I had for you around monetization, since you both have really unique, expertise zones, is I think you could do well with the high ticket VIP day offer, where like the way I define a VIP day is you both get some 2-on-1 time with a person that pays you high dollar for a 3 to 4 hour virtual experience. So you have like a protocol that you're going to put them through of, okay, fill out this information. What are your biggest pain points? We are going to spend the next 3 hours digging into this stuff and solving this so that when you come out the other side, it's at least on the way to being solved, or you feel a lot of personal momentum out on the other side. So like when I do these, I tend to focus on like a monetization funnel. I help people set up things like the PodPal Zoom party for their own brand and like connect like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? How do we make the sale? What does the sales conversation look like? And we build that whole thing out in 3 hours so that they just have a sales page link at the end of that and they're out monetizing. And that's super cool. So I think like you're helping people make money and save money. Like that's a double whammy that we can charge for. And that I think that's something to consider. So maybe you have a quarterly online challenge. People go through that. They do the affiliate link thing. And like, hey, if you guys want to take things to the next level, we do 2 VIP days. We have 2 slots open for VIP days each month. Here are the dates. Here's the cost. Here's what it's about. And you just put that out there. And I'll bet you that you'll have some takers on this. And this is like $2,000 plus, $5,000 plus offer. Like usually in that, a lot of people do the $2,500 to $5,000 range for like a 4-hour VIP day. And so that's good money for your time in one whack, and you're making high impact. So I know that might feel like it could be a little bit more down the road than immediate, but that's something I would definitely encourage you to just kick around and just kind of keep in the back of the mind and consider. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Any nerves about that or anything like how in the world do I pull this off? I can tell Roberta's like wheels are turning on that.
Yeah, no, I'm like, which I think we would want to focus on one thing or the other and then decide where we want these people to go. Like I kind of agree with you with the Facebook group. Do we want to have that going, or do we want them to go on a newsletter instead? Or I don't know. Go ahead, Daph.
No, I'm just thinking out loud, and I shouldn't have interrupted you. But the Facebook group, okay, I think we need one, because I think we need one, and it's a matter of breathing life into it. We're not using it because we're not using it. So I don't see it as a bad idea, because it's a great place to go live and to create some engagement, because it's different from Instagram. So it's much easier and to get people to belong to the group, and they will check in, because all of the masterminds, the 2 masterminds I'm in, one has a Facebook group, and that's how you get information out there to people that care. I mean, I do check in on it. So
yeah, I have 2 that I check in on too.
Right.
Yeah. I just think it's important for you to have a place for your community to connect, whether it's a Facebook group or like I do my Pod Pal Zoom parties. That's where my community tends to connect. So you got to have that playground, no matter where it is. Maybe it's a clubhouse, a regular clubhouse room or something like that. But we need to give our community an opportunity to be a community. And that's not just by listening to the podcast and be like, I'm a fan. So like that's just something to keep in mind. And if that's your Facebook group, that's your Facebook group. But definitely the more effort you put in, you have to initiate the engagement. Like that's the thing where it's like, if you just go live and blast into that, maybe they interact, maybe they don't. But if you're in there doing challenges and interacting and grabbing people, that's going to really initiate engagement. So I think that's a solid place to just start digging in action step wise, like next steps. Reassess that Facebook group. How can we breathe life into it? How can we initiate engagement? Is it a challenge? Ask them, put up a poll. What do you guys want from us? We are dedicated to firing this group up. We're re-engaging, and we want you to do the same. Here's what we're dedicated to doing. I'll post this many days per week. I'll go live this many days per week. We'll do a challenge, however often, and make some commitments to them, and then ask them like, what do you need from us? What could we do that would solve your biggest pain point? Put the big magic wand question out there. If we could wave a magic wand and solve your biggest sales pain point or your biggest financial pain point, what would that look like? And they'll tell you, and then just try to serve to that. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right. Well, let's make sure before we wrap up, we want to shout out your show. And if people want to connect with you, where the heck do they go?
Oh, they go to our podcast website, grownwomengrowingwealth.com. You can subscribe to the show. You can join our email list. It's right up there in the corner.
And then go check out their Facebook group.
Check out the Grown Women Growing Wealth Facebook group. We're on LinkedIn too. But
right. So we're there also, and we also have an Instagram.
Fantastic.
But the biggest takeaway I have today is the challenge, because Roberta's run one. She's run a couple, so it won't be just with the training wheels.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I feel like I still have my training wheels on the challenge.
Magic happens when we get together and put our mind on something. Because
I've got an old lead magnet that it's a free mini course. I'll dust off and I'll send you the link. It's called the Build a Challenge, and it's got a little. It's a 5-day challenge about building a challenge. So it's really it's very meta.
There we go.
So I'll send that to you. I've got a ton of notes that I'll be sending your way here in the next 24 hours as well. Okay. So every idea that I've had, I'm going to kind of thicken up, make some more notes, and I've got some other recommendations. So I'll email you both with all that. And I appreciate you coming on and being willing to be on the show. Yeah. What you got?
Yeah. Love being on the show. Video. When you do video, do you have an episode. Do you go for like that 10 or 15 minute block of fire and then send it to your person with timestamps to chop it up into pieces, or do you send them the whole 30, 40 minute block of podcast video? How do you go about it? Okay.
Well, personally, I don't have a person that I use for that. I do all that myself. So I'll go in, I load up the whole thing, but I've made notes along the way. And I go, okay, here's where I want this quote, that quote, that quote. That way I can be efficient with it. Now I know I refer a lot of people to my friends, Luis and Fonzie, the Biz Bros, because they're the best at this, where you send them your whole thing with some notes and they will literally produce hundreds of assets off that one episode, like video clips, carousel posts, regular posts, audio, there's so much and you can just blast it everywhere, every day of the week, 5 posts a day. And it's just like, it looks hot. It looks good. So that's what they specialize in. So I can make that connection if you guys want to have a conversation with the Biz Bros too. They're excellent. They're excellent at what they do, and they're fun.
Good. Well, we both try to do it individually, and Daphne does a way better job than I do, but we still get really frustrated.
Yeah. I actually like it, so I'm kind of a nerd that way, but okay, friends.
Different.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I think we covered some good ground here. Like I said, I'll send you my notes. And if there's anybody out there listening in, make sure you connect with these ladies. If you think that you would be a great guest for them or they would be a great guest for you, make sure that you reach out on their website. And if you're interested in coming on and doing a podcast audit just like this one we've done here today, hit us up at www.podcastingbusiness.school. And with that, I will leave you wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you on the next episode.